Welcome back. We've been talking with Les Stevens of Mended Hearts. And Les, you were going to show us, you've got some literature, some information that's here that Gil is going to zoom right in on. One is the path to recovery and the other is after the cath lab. Talk to us a little bit about those.
This is, these are the packets that we leave with patients and their families when we visit with them. It's also information that's available, of course, at our monthly meetings. But if we go to visit with someone who has just had, for example, a stent placed in their heart, there is a lot of questions that are left behind that we can answer with these information packets. So we have the cath pack that is designed just for those who have gone through that. We also have the path pack, which is really designed for people who have had more invasive procedures, who have had a valve or bypass surgery. And there's additional information in there to deal with all of the post-surgical things that the patient is going to encounter, that the family is going to encounter. There are certain things that the patient is going to go through almost universally, from, you know, of course, the expected aches and pains and the addition of having to take prescription drugs the rest of your life, to depression, which is something that most, especially male patients, don't like to talk about, but having a near-death experience that you truly have had does have a very serious impact on your mental state as well as your physical state. And the information packets are an attempt to give information that will help that recovery process, or help the patient and their caregivers through that recovery process.
During recovery, is there a huge fear about having another attack? Or are there sometimes, as part of the healing process, do you sometimes feel as though you might be headed towards another attack? Or, not being clinical, I'm basing it strictly on your experience. Is that something that that is a real concern with patients?
Yeah, and I think anytime you've gone through a traumatic experience, I was actually relating, when you were asking the question, to the Loma Prieta earthquake, believe it or not, in California years ago. One of the traumatic things was anytime a truck would roll by your home and you'd feel the vibrations, you would think, is this another earthquake happening? The same exact thing happens, and it definitely happened to me after my heart attack, is the fear is that the first time you have a pain in your chest, and believe me, you have plenty of those, you've been cut open. You're healing. Anytime you have that pain, there is a kind of a knee-jerk reaction, am I having another heart attack? And this repeats itself.
It's like a post-traumatic stress.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And after a while, you get used to that. You're less sensitive to that. But there is a recovery. That's part of the recovery process, and that is normal. And hopefully that's one of the things we can.
I would say that would be
communicate.
Yeah.
What is the normal? What is normal for you to go through after you've had a heart attack, or you've had bypass surgery, or a valve replaced? What is the normal? And that's why we try to pair up our visitors with people who have had the same procedure that our visitor has had. So I tend to focus.
A visitor being the patient.
Being the patient. Yes. Yeah. I tend to want to visit with those who have had bypass surgery, because I can tell them about that. I didn't have a valve. I didn't have a stent put in.
So someone else from the Mended Heart group that has had that a stent put in would certainly be partnered up then with a patient who's going to have that process done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or who are about to have that process. Sometimes we do a lot of pre-procedure visits, trying to eliminate what you and I talked about a year ago, and that was the fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown, exactly.
It's one of the biggest fears that we as human beings can have, and if we can help allay their concerns just a little bit, we've really passed on something that people have passed on to us.
And I've seen it time and again with the support groups that we were talking about early on, that that are so prevalent within our community, just to alleviate that fear because someone else has experienced it. To say, yes, you're going to have some pain, absolutely, afterward, and you may think you're having another heart attack, but you're going to get through it, and it is normal, and it's okay. So just to hear those words from someone would be comforting beyond belief.
Absolutely. I think not only hearing those words, but seeing us stand in front of them.
Sure. Living proof, literally living proof.
We give them hope and confidence that there is life after what they're going through, that you will be healthy again. Yes, we have been in that bed. Yes, we have had those tubes hanging out of us as well. But look at us now.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, it's been 10 years, and we're still healthy. So giving them the confidence that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that there is hope, I think is another huge thing that we give these poor people who are scared to death just like we were.
And it would do them a world of good after they're really, truly back on the road to recovery to come to Mended Hearts, because you're always educating yourselves. You'd said that you have guest speakers that come in, and those that are there are sharing their particular experiences, or maybe they've found a new book on nutrition or that kind of thing. So always getting more and more and more educated about prevention and how to have a much better quality of life and how to share that information with others.
Very important. Medical science is moving so quickly in this area, both from a treatment standpoint, but just as importantly from a prevention standpoint, that we do become somewhat evangelists in trying to get the word out. We don't want anyone to go through what we've gone through. And if we can pass it on, a recent book that I am just finishing reading right now called The China Study. Dr. Campbell wrote it. Amazing about not only disease prevention, especially heart disease prevention, but reversal of heart disease just by a radical change in one's diet. Former President Bill Clinton, who had his bypass surgery, is on this kind of a diet. It takes quite a commitment on someone's part, but those of us who have heart disease and will be living with it the rest of our lives can choose to have a longer, healthier, and hopefully happier life as a result.
Well, and I mean, we're seeing all sorts of things across the board of what we've done to ourselves with our eating habits. The obesity levels are just outrageous. Now it's down to our children. When are we going to wake up and say it's time to stop eating the way we eat? The fried foods have to go. We need that exercise component. We just need to do the right thing for our bodies. Otherwise, they're going to create other things to say, nope, that's the wrong thing. So.
Well, and heart disease is subtle. I know in my case, I would walk out to our barn and back and be out of breath, and I thought it was, well, simply because I had just turned 60 years old. I had no clue that it was actually my heart was giving me warnings.
Really?
The pain in my chest and those sorts of things. And that's the other thing that I'm trying to educate my friends and family and anyone who will listen, that don't ignore those body signs. Don't be afraid to go in and get yourself checked out only to find out that you don't have heart disease. That's good. I might have avoided a heart attack had I listened to my body a little bit better. I possibly could have had it fixed by a stent or something else prior to having to go through what I went through.
Well, the body is an amazing thing, and it does. It's our mind does allow us to say, oh, we'll just put that off for another day and keep trucking along and ignore it.
Exactly.
So, but we do need to pay attention. I know that's one of the first things we tell people, a little off the subject, but we always tell folks that feel that they may be having a stroke, don't wait. Get yourselves into the Klein Emergency Center, find out what is going on. If it's not a stroke, yay. But boy, do not ever wait. And the same thing with the heart. Or if you think but I understand from talking with you, we've been friends and talked for several years now, that when you are having a full-blown heart attack, you will know that you're having a heart attack.
Yeah,
There's no question.
Yes, although I have to admit that I personally went through about a 45-minute period of denial.
Really?
Which is also pretty dumb
Yeah.
in retrospect.
Yeah.
But I never felt any of the sensations you hear about and read about down the left side of my, the numbness in my arm, the numbness alongside my face, the jaw, anything on the left side. Most men don't, interestingly. So it is not unusual at all for especially men not to feel those sensations. I was waiting for those sensations, denying in the process that I was having a heart attack until I call it the elephant on my chest, finally grew large enough that I went. I woke up Julie. It was 1:30 in the morning, and I said, "I think I'm having a heart attack." And that's when I finally admitted that I knew something was wrong. I still wasn't sure it was a heart attack.
Would you come back and visit with us?
It would be
again?
my pleasure.
Once again, please tell our audience, Mended Hearts, how can they get a hold of you? What's the phone number?
Our phone number is area code 421-0360. It's 870-421-0360. And we also meet monthly every third Wednesday at the Mart Center on Aging.
At what time do you meet?
Oh, 11:30 in the morning.
11:30 in the morning. All right. Put that on your calendar. When you get your viewpoint, fourth quarter will be coming out in October, and it'll have all the schedule in there. We've got it all over the place, posted on our event calendars throughout town. Stop in and join in at 11:30 for one of the Mended Heart meetings. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back again next week with BRMC's Healthy Connections.